Let's work on a little bit practical example of cron scheduling. What we'll do this time is we'll go through website weather.com and log current time, temperature, and description, as well as name of the place for Kathmandu city. And this is something we'll do every hour, and we'll push this to Postgres database. We'll be using Beautiful Soup for this process. Beautiful Soup is a Python library that is primarily used for web scraping purposes. It creates parse tree from a page, which may be HTML or XML, which can be used to extract documents or data in hierarchical manner. And we'll see more on this very soon. So first of all, we have to install Beautiful Soup using the command pip install Beautiful Soup 4. We can do that either from terminal or from Jupyter Notebook. So let's copy this and go to our Jupyter Notebook and type pip install Beautiful Soup. While installing from Jupyter Notebook, don't forget to add an exclamation mark on the beginning. So let's run this using Shift Enter. I've already installed this, but this should work fine if you haven't. So let's import the module request, which we will be using to make HTTP request. Since we are here, let's also rename this notebook to weather script. Let's import Beautiful Soup using command from bs4 import Beautiful Soup. Let's import pandas and OS modules. Let's also import create engine from SQL Alchemy. We'll be using this module to manage connection to our Postgres database. To see how to create and set up database, please go through the video about setting Postgres and pgadmin. Link for this is provided in the description. Let's actually install another module, python.env. To install this, we'll be using the command pip install python.env. This module can be used for reading key value pair from .env file and can set them as environment variable. This can help us to almost detach sensitive information like password or access token from notebook. So let's say if you want to share notebook, we would just share the IPINP file without deleting the value of passwords and password fields. This would make more sense as we go along. Now, let's go through the web page we'll be scraping. It's from weather.com. We'll be extracting the name of place, which is Kathmandu, time 4:48 p.m., temperature 77 degree, and description from the page, which is cloudy. Let's copy the URL and get the HTML using the function request.get. Let's set a variable HTML text, and using this function request.get, let's import the HTML contents of this page. If we print HTML_text, we'll get a response with HTTP code of 200, which means success. But if we add .text to the HTML text, we'll get the HTML code for the web page. The next step is to parse this, and we can use Beautiful Soup for that. We'll pass the HTML file to HTML file parser, and this will get parsed in HTML hierarchy. So rather than a string, the response will be now converted to HTML entity or tree, which we can use to get particular ID or value from the tree. For this, let's set up a variable soup and parse the HTML text using function Beautiful Soup. We have to specify the parser we will be going to use. In this case, we'll be using HTML.parser. Let's now go through the web page and inspect the element. So for this, I'm going to right click and I'm going to click on inspect. I'm going to click on this button and I'm going to hover my mouse to the text that contains the value of place. So as we can see, the value of Kathmandu, Bagmati, Nepal weather lies on the class of current conditions location 1AYV3, and it has the tag of H1. So let's copy this, the name of the class, and let's go to the script. You can set a variable place and use soup.find to find the element. We can find the text on that class by specifying tag, which is h1 in this case, and the class name. And don't forget to add underscore after the class. If we print place, we can get the HTML content of that class. To extract text from it, you can very simply do place.text. Since we are only interested in extracting Kathmandu, we can split this string using the function split and specify comma as delimiter and print the first value. This will return Kathmandu for us. Since we have the value of place, we can use similar method to extract timestamp, temperature, and description. On inspecting the web page, we can see the respective class that contains these values. Also, we can find the time using the class current condition dash dash timestamp dash dash 1SWY5. And if we print time, we can get the HTML content of that respective class. And like previously, we can use time.text to get the time. So for this value, we only want the string after off. So a straightforward way to do this would be to strip the string after index of 6, so we can get the respective time. The same we are going to do with temp. The other thing to notice is it has HTML ID of span, so we'll have to specify that in our code. And specify the class name. And if we print temp, we can get the HTML value. And if we print temp.text, we can find the temperature. Similarly, for description, we'll need HTML ID and class. So the HTML ID is div and class name is current condition phrase value 2xxsr. I'm going to initialize a variable to set the value. So for this, I'm going to initialize a variable called place value. For time value. For temp value. And for description value. Now we'll have to enter these values to database table. This can be done in magnitude of ways. For the sake of this video, I'm going to create a data frame with these values in pandas. A easier alternative to that would be to directly insert these values into Postgres table. We can use PsychoPG2 or SQL Alchemy for that. Let's open pgadmin and create a table weather log with 4 values: place, time, temperature, and description. For simplicity, I'm going to set all of the columns as text. Let's run this script to create the table. As you can see, the table has been created. We have previously installed python.env library to extract password values from a text file. So let's actually work on that. Now to load the env file, we can use this magic command percentage load ext.env, and we can use this to load our env file. So let's actually create .env file on the same folder with this script. This is how a env file should look like, and it contains the placeholder for username, database, password, and URL. Again, the video about setting Postgres database and pgadmin goes in detail about the values for this field. Link of these videos will be provided in the description. Let's go back to our notebook. Now we can finally load this file using the command %.env. and add the file to the name of path. So in our example, that would be _.env. I'm going to use a relative path here, but we can use absolute path also. We can get the field from the file using the command os.env. For example, for getting the username, so this is an example of username. Similarly, we can get password, URL, and database name from this field in similar way. Let's create a dictionary containing these values, and let's call it params. We'll need a key value pair for host, database, password, and port, and also username. The value of port for the Postgres is a default of 5432. Let's finally create an engine with the parameters obtained from text file. We can use the function createEngine and pass the parameters. Engine can be created using the syntax Postgres colon PostgreSQL colon /username colon password @host port / and database name. So first of all, we need to create a pandas dictionary that contains these values. Just realize we have import pandas, but we need to use the alias pd for this to work. Now let's check this using data.head. Okay. So to finally add this to our database, we'll be using the function toSQL. We specify the name of the table, specify the engine as connection parameter, and specify these parameters. If the table exists, we want to append the data, and we don't want index on the table. To push the data, let's run this script using shift and enter. As we can see, the script has been successfully run. We can verify that from pgadmin. So since this is working, let's make this into a simple Python script, which roughly means copying this code to single Python file, which you can pass to a cron tab as previously. So I have went on and created this script weather_log script on the same folder, and I have written the code for this. It was just a matter of copying the code from notebook to a script file, a Python file. So I've imported request, beautiful soup, pandas, and operating systems, modules, and SQL alchemy, a create engine function that we used last time, and .env. So previously we used magic function, but this time we will be using functions. So .env has a function called .env values, and it can be used to load the text file, which is _.env in our case. And we can print the params like previously. We can pull place, time, temperature, and description values for those, and wrap those in a nice data frame, and eventually create an engine and push that to weather log table. And we have to specify page URL in main function, which acts like a parameter for this function. So if we were to run this, I'm going to open a terminal, and first of all I'm going to copy the path, copy, and then I'm going to type cron tab -e and list out the cron task. So this was our previous task, and I'm going to paste this one here. So if you want to run this every minute, we can use this command and specify which path are we going to run, sorry, which file are we going to run. So weather _log _script script .py, and just for the sake of consistency, I'm going to use Python 3 here. One last thing, let's say we want to run this every hour, that means in 0 minute, so we want to make sure that we put 0 here, and let's save this, yes, and enter. So this will be done now, and we have automated this script using cron tab. So it has been like probably for 5 hours since we ran the script, and we can see the recorded rows from table. Let's actually run this script. So yeah, as we can see, we have recorded the data in every hour till 11 p.m. So yeah, in this way we can, so to summarize, in this way we can use cron jobs to schedule tasks